Good evening, everyone. I call the Marlington Local School District Board of Education regular meeting to order on February 4th, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reading of the mission statement. In collaboration with staff, community, parents, and students, the Marlington Local School District will develop lifelong learners who understand and apply knowledge and demonstrate excellence in pursuing the highest standards with effective intervention to challenge every student. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Dr. Main, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gabrick,
Here.
Mr. Hagan,
Here.
Mrs. Humphreys, here. Dr. Mason,
Here.
Ms. Stevens,
here.
Adoption of the meeting agenda. Are there any additions or corrections? Is there a motion for the Marlington Local Board of Education to adopt the following agenda for the February 4th, 2021 meeting?
So moved.
Second,
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphreys. Yes. Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
yes.
approved 5-0.
Public participation. Dr. Main, did you receive any documents for the public participation portion of tonight's meeting?
No documents were received.
Thank you. Special presentations, Business Advisory Council update. I'll give a brief update on that. I attended a meeting on January 26th, and it was an overview of the year was presented for strategy, goals, and objectives. And I'll just go over the goals, which were to connect business with education systems to enhance relationships in building the talent pipeline, lead collaborate workforce goals through community partnerships and the creation or augmentation of industry sector partnerships, support and promote initiatives that attract and engage new and existing business employment opportunities in the area, support and promote workforce programs to build equity, relationships, and opportunity for minorities in the local and regional workforce. And there were objectives that were reviewed for each of the different groups of education sectors. So it was a good meeting, and they'll be meeting monthly throughout the year. So January Students of the Month, Dr. Mike.
Good evening, everybody. Since January was a little bit of a different month for us, we were on remote learning for a while. We have the January and February Students of the Month to present to you tonight. Congratulations to all of their students and their parents. And Ben, I'm going to let you take over.
Hello, I'm here with Landry Kirk, our January Duke of the Month. Landry's mom and dad are Gina and Rob Kirk. I've known Landry from a long time, from soccer all the way up since your freshman year. We are very proud of you. Landry has been a class officer for 2 years. She's in the National Honor Society. She's an Interact member for 3 years, on the leg crew for 2 years, and she's achieved straight A's throughout her 3.5 years of high school. Normal people do get B's, but not Landry. Landry loves snowboarding, hunting, crafting, and spending time with her family and friends. She plans to attend college and pursue biochemistry, pre-med, or nursing, all very smart, intelligent subjects. Landry is a bright student here at Marlington. We're very proud of you and honored to give you the support. Hello, we are here with Aiden Trummer. Aiden is our Duke of the Month for the month of January. His parents, Mitch and Lisa Trummer, are very proud of you, as I am, for receiving this award. Aiden is a Washington Royalton's rising senior, class vice president, junior and senior year. He's the class treasurer from his sophomore year, French club president as a senior, academic challenge captain, member of the high school soccer team, all the way from your freshman year all the way up to senior year. An RYLA representative as a junior, Boys State nominee, Duke of the Month as a junior, Alliance Review Team of the Month as a senior. He's on the homecoming court and Interact member junior and senior year. Aiden likes playing soccer, likes playing video games and hanging out with friends. Also enjoys fishing and boating. And his future is to plan on going to Mount Union to study political science. I go with Aiden from soccer. Aiden, we're very proud of you. We know how hard you work at school, and it will pay big dividends. Congratulations, Aiden.
Thank you.
Good luck. Hello, I'm here with our February Teen of the Month, Evelyn Bullock, whose parents are Jeff and Alicia Bullock. Evelyn is in the Duke Street since sophomore year, all the way up through. She's in jazz band, Tri-M historian from 10th to 12th grade. Of course, she's a soccer player, how I got to know Evelyn, and captain this year. She's in the National Honor Society. She's in the Spanish National Honor Society. She's in ROTS, which is our new group, Lake Crew, Marlington Drama Dudes, Youth Group, Worship Team, Bible Study, Academic Challenge, co-captain also. Evelyn is very busy, as you can see. Evelyn has many hobbies and interests. Among them is reading the Bible and spending time with God, playing the piano, singing, listening to music. And she would like to major in music while she attends Malone University. Evelyn, it's been very proud for me to watch you grow up these last 4 years, and I'm very honored to present with you our Teen of the Month. Hello, we are here with a longtime student that I've known, Mr. Tom Hipley, and I'm happy to congratulate you, Tom, on being the Duke Teen of the Month. Tom's parents are Tom and Christine Hipley. He's done Lake Crew for us, Leadership Stark County. He's been to Buckeye Boys State. We've been very proud of him that summer. And he, of course, is in our National Honor Society. He plays basketball for us. He was the tallest runner in the state of Ohio as a cross-country man. And, of course, he's on our track team. He likes to fish, play video games, and play cornhole. Currently, we're extremely proud of Tommy because he is at Stark State taking their HVAC program where he has a full course load and earning college credit and has a bright future ahead of him. Congratulations, Tommy, on being our Duke Teen of the Month. Thank you. You're welcome, sir.
Our next student of the month is 8th grader Jasmine Russell Miller. Jasmine is the granddaughter of Deborah Russell. Her favorite class is math. She is a member of the middle school student council, and in her free time, she enjoys roller skating and writing short stories. Jasmine's teachers had this to share about her. Jasmine is a very conscientious student. She takes pride in her work and always does her assignments well. She is both a very talented and hardworking student. Jasmine is very dedicated to her schoolwork. She's always diligently working, in turn has earned her excellent grades. She participates well in class and is respectful of others' learning. Jasmine is not the loudest student in the hallways or the classroom. She likes to keep, but hopefully as she continues to grow, she will share more of her brilliant ideas in class. Jasmine is, however, a most dedicated student at MMS. She works hard in each of her classes and always has her assignments complete. She does a great job of advocating for her needs and will show great gratitude when she receives help. She is a great organizer and great at executing projects as part of the student council. Described as a self-starter and accomplishes so much in a day. She's also an avid reader and enjoys talking about what she is currently reading to her teachers. She'll ask her teachers how their day is going, and she always works very hard. Congratulations, Jasmine. Great job. Joining me is 8th grader Owen Sutton. Owen is another one of our students of the month, and Owen is the son of Jill Mell. His favorite class is American history. Outside of school, Owen enjoys archery and entomology. Entomology, it's the study of insects. I had to ask him as well. He is a 4-year member of the Washington Township Variety 4-H Club, where he shows pigs and chickens at the Stark County Fair. Owen's teachers had the following to share about him. Owen puts those around him in a good mood. He has a great sense of humor, and he's a hard worker. Owen is the definition of character. When I look at examples on my wall, he fits many of the criteria, such as being kind to everyone, being responsible, doing his best, keeps trying, respecting others, and is trustworthy. He really helped a fellow student in the mornings between 7:30 and 7:45. When his classmate was struggling on whether to come to school or not, he implemented story time before we would start class. He always shared something that would make his classmates smile, and I truly feel this made a big impact on this person's mornings. Owen, that's from one of your teachers, and that's a great job. Great job. We're very proud of you, and congratulations. You're welcome.
Good evening, I'm Renee Cayley, the principal from Lexington. We are here today to recognize Lexington's January Kiwanis Student of the Month. Our student this month is Morgan Moore, and she was nominated by her 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Porter. Here are some things that Mrs. Porter had to say about Morgan. Morgan is a role model to others. She chooses to be kind in all situations. Morgan is such a sweet girl who greets teachers each morning with a smile and kind words. Being polite is just part of who she is and how she treats others. She participates in class and does a nice job on her work. She always asks questions if she needs help. Morgan gives 110% at all she does. Way to go, Morgan. We're so very proud of you and keep up the good work. Congratulations on being our January Student of the Month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mark Greco, 5th grade teacher at Marlboro Elementary, and I have the pleasure of introducing Max Gibbs. He's our January Student of the Month. Max was chosen as our Kiwanis Student of the Month for January for his maximum effort. He's always prepared for class and follows directions. He exemplifies great Duke pride by the way he carries himself throughout the school and sets a positive example for younger students. Max always asks great questions in class and is able to stay on task. He is doing great things in 5th grade, and we are very proud of all he has achieved throughout the first half of this school year. Max's favorite subject is science. He lives with his parents, and he has a dog, a hamster, and 23 cats. When Max grows up, he would like to be a doctor like his father. And Max is a big fan of sports, and he says he will take any sports team you can think of. Thank you. Our Student of the Month, Max Gibbs, for January. And here you go, Max.
I am here with Logan Smith. He is our Kiwanis Student of the Month for the month of January. And I wanted to read a little bit of what Mr. Bailey, 5th grade teacher, had to say about Logan. He said, Logan is a great student and a great helper in the classroom. He's a great example for others to follow and shows awesome leadership skills. He enjoys history in school and likes many sports, including soccer, baseball, and basketball. So, Logan, congratulations for Kiwanis Student of the Month.
Thank you.
Good evening,
she's one of our Students of the Month. Madeline is the daughter of Jamie and Carl Redinger. Her favorite class is French 1 with Mrs. Allister. She plays volleyball for the Lady Dukes and enjoys reading and bike riding in her free time. Her teachers had this to share about her. Madeline, her smile is sweet and infectious. She's always prepared for class, volunteers multiple times in every single class, and works well with others. Madeline is a model student who is kind and hardworking. She's always determined to do her very best. Great job, Madeline, and congratulations. Joining me now is Luke Stanley. Luke is an 8th grader here at the middle school, and he's another one of our Students of the Month. Luke is the son of Chris and Kim Stanley. His favorite classes are reading and American history. Luke plays football and wrestles for the Dukes. He just finished his middle school season with a record of 10-0 with 7 pens. He is now qualified at the OAC state championships. In his free time, he enjoys playing with Cooper, his yellow lab. Luke's teachers had this to share about him. Luke consistently does his assignments well. He participates in class every day and improves the class for those around him. He is a talented reader and writer. Luke has worked so hard, especially over our remote learning break. He has put a lot of effort in and did his very best. Luke is definitely a leader on the mat and in the classroom. We're very proud of him, and we wish him continued success. Great job, Luke.
Good evening, I'm Renee Cayley, the principal from Lexington, and we are here this evening to recognize our 5th grade Kiwanis Student of the Month for the month of February. February Student of the Month is Madison Richards, who was nominated by her teacher, Mrs. Kellums. Here are some things that Mrs. Kellums had to say about Madison. Madison is a very kind student who graciously helps other students when they need it. She is also very focused on her work. She pays such close attention to what we are doing that one of the things Madison likes best is searching for typos and errors in our classwork to earn candy and class dojo rewards. Her close attention to detail has helped her to excel in her schoolwork. She puts effort into each assignment she turns in. Thank you for the positive example you show by being responsible and having an awesome attitude. Madison, congratulations on being Lexington's February Student of the Month. Keep up the awesome job. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, today we have Brody Shoemaker as our Marlboro 5th grade Kiwanis Student of the Month. Brody was chosen as the February Kiwanis Student of the Month based on his positive attitude and dedication to his classwork. His bright attitude brings a smile to the faces of his peers and Marlboro staff. You could always look to Brody for a smirk, or a pick-me-up when others aren't feeling their best. Brody demonstrates great Duke pride by staying on task, trying his best, and expecting success from himself. We are very proud of Brody and all he has accomplished so far this year in 5th grade, and I'm going to tell you a few of Brody's favorite things. Feel free to add the smirk at any time. Reading and social studies are his favorite because Mrs. Beatles makes it so fun. Truth. Fact, right? I didn't add that. You saw that. He lives with mom and dad and one older sister and 2 younger brothers and a family cat. What's the name of the cat? Miss Kitty. We love it. Oh my gosh. I like to play, well I do as well, but Brody likes to play board games with his family and go camping in the summer. Someday he would like to build a tree fort and visit the Grand Canyon. And when he grows up, he would like to design video games or be a construction worker like his dad. He likes to practice origami and likes building things out of cardboard. I enjoy Brody, well I enjoy forts too. Brody enjoys building forts, as do I, in the woods with his dad during Cub Scout camping trips. And he also plays Little Dukes football. We are very proud of Brody Shoemaker. Mr. Gentleman, let me give you a clap. And I would like to award you with a certificate for Kiwanis Student of the Month. Thank you, sir.
I am here with Marley Herbert. She is the Kiwanis Student of the Month for the month of February. And I wanted to take a second and just read to you about what Mrs. Craig has to say about Marley. She said, Marley was selected as the Kiwanis Student of the Month because of her incredible improvements and dedication to her education and maturity. Marley has worked hard during the second 9 weeks to challenge herself to make better choices in the classroom with her academics as well as behavior. While remote learning was not the easiest educational situation, she worked hard to communicate well with her teachers and complete assignments to the best of her ability in spite of the different challenges. So on behalf of Washington Elementary, I want to congratulate Marley for being Kiwanis Student of the Month.
Thank
Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Ben, and thank you to our principals and presenters, and congratulations, students.
Yes, congratulations to all of our students and parents. Old business, financial discussion, Dr. Patty Main and Dr. Michael Schreffler.
Did you want me to kick it off, Patty?
Sure, go ahead.
We wanted to talk to all of you, kind of kick off a discussion about finances. You looked at our 5-year forecast a while back, and we did receive a letter from the Ohio Department of Education that making sure that we know that down the road we have a deficit and that we have been doing some deficit spending. We're not in any type of caution or emergency or watch by the state. It's just kind of a precaution, kind of an extra flag. Of course, we all know that that's the situation. And the state just doesn't want us to let things go and not do planning. They are interested in how we plan to overcome this. And, you know, I wanted to reiterate, Dr. Main and I talk all the time, almost every day about this, the best allocation of our funds. One thing that I always tell folks, the pie is only so big, and it's up to us and with input from our community and our students to talk to us about how we divide that pie. So needless to say, Dr. Main and I, with our administrative team, our teaching and classified team, we're looking at all areas of operations. We do a lot of things. We're required to do a lot of things. I don't think many people realize how much goes on behind the scenes of a school district, the accountability, the paperwork. And it takes people. We're a people business, and it takes people to do those things. We also want to make sure that we're maximizing the funds that we have, and that takes collaboration and talking to other districts and other people. Patty and I did spend some time with the person from ODE. We met with him via Zoom, and we talked about some possibilities for Marlington down the road. So I think that's a little bit of a kickoff to the discussion. We did receive, we are receiving what we call ESSER funds, Elementary Secondary School Emergency Relief. These are funds that are actually COVID relief funds. And I'm happy to let you know, I think you already heard, we received almost $1.8 million in funds. So those are needed funds. They will help us to recuperate. They will help us to do things in our district that are needed. And those, Patty and I and others are, making a list of those things. What should we do? What are we allowed to do? What are we allowed to use funds? So that's kind of the kickoff to the discussion. Patty, did you want to say a few things?
Just that our state funding, as you probably know, and the fiscal year 20 as well as 21, it was predicted at the state level that we would have about $408,000 taken away. As you might have heard already, some of those funds this year have been restored. So even though we had $408 less, or I'm sorry, 408,000 less in FY20, FY20 this year, this current year, it looks like it's going to be more like 184,000 rather than 408,000. So that's a good thing. That puts some money back into our general fund. And as Dr. Mike was saying, we've had some relief also at the federal level, the ESSER funds. Those ESSER funds are intended to offset our loss of revenues, as well as assist with some of those additional expenditures that we're seeing due to the current pandemic environment. We, like he mentioned, they have not been finalized. We don't have the guidance yet, but we are already working on ways that we can put those to good use. We end up coming down to we need a short-term solution that's going to really kind of move us through these next couple years while we're seeing that fluctuation in our revenue as well as our expenses. We have kids that are on remote. We believe most of those, if not all, will come back. But these are uncertain times. So we just need to come up with a way that we can get through the next few years, and then also come up with that long-term plan of how we're going to reallocate those resources in a way that addresses our students' needs as well as is sustainable. I don't know if you had anything else.
Well, just a couple of things. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. Maybe Patty, could you mute your?
Yes.
Just a couple of things. You know, when we talk about the short term, you might be thinking, well, what kind of things can we use these ESSER funds? Well, luckily they're retroactive. So, for example, we spent funds at Marlboro Elementary School on air quality. Air quality is one of the items we can spend these relief funds. It makes sense. Improving air quality when we're in a COVID environment. We can spend these funds on staffing that was used for all kinds of instances during the COVID to get kids back to where they need to be. If, you know, I'm not saying all kids are behind, but if kids have fallen behind, what do we need to do to make sure that we're in the game of being able to do remote learning if and when we would ever need to? So there are a number of things, many more things where we can use these funds. It's important. It's like a big puzzle. So it's important, I think, before we start, you know, allocating, that we kind of have an idea of what that puzzle looks like and where we can go backwards and recuperate or refurbish funds, and where we can go forward to commit, we're going to use these funds. I don't think that any of you would be surprised to hear me say, and I don't know if this is the first time I've really said this. I've been here now 8 months. I've been looking at everything, and Marlington is going to need a levy, a new money levy, somewhere in the near future. Now, what does near future mean? A couple of years down the line, maybe sooner? And I want everybody to understand, I know we have folks listening at home, this is not something that's unique to Marlington. Public schools in Ohio are set up, they're dependent on property taxes and they're dependent on levies. Marlington has not asked for new operating money in 18 years. That's really unusual in Ohio. We have to operate on money from that 18 years ago. A lot of our funds do not increase with inflation. So it's probably no surprise for you to hear that as a team, as a leadership team, we will have to plan what kind of levy, how much should that levy be, when will we ask our voters about that levy. We do have a renewal levy that's not too far in the future as well. And of course, we do have some pipeline money, which right now is designated for capital improvements. So I think Patty and I are doing two things tonight. We're talking about the ESSER, the relief funds. We're thankful for those funds. Those funds will be used very wisely and very carefully, but they're not going to be the be all and the end all of our financial situation. So we wanted everybody to be prepared for that. I think those are the main points. I'm sure you probably have some questions, and if you do, we can answer those.
Dr. Mike, as you mentioned, the money can be used retroactively. Can you kind of give people an idea how that works, since, you know, we've already spent the money, let's say, for example, at Marlboro that you mentioned for the air quality, that would be then money from those funds that could be allocated back into the general fund, correct?
Correct. So the money would have to be initially returned to the fund where it came from. So the money would be returned to the that particular fund that we have set up for Marlboro, or had set up. And then the board in a resolution would be able to grant the movement of that fund back into the general fund. So it's sort of like, you know, if you have multiple accounts at home and, you know, you decide I'm going to move from CD or savings account into the checking account, it's just that this is going to be a team effort, and then the board will have to pass a resolution to do that. But depending on where the funds came from, some of them came directly from the general fund. So they'll go back to the general fund.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Besides a levy, what are the other options?
Well, I'm going to be honest. So we're a people business. I've told people for many years, you save a little bit of money by turning off lights, and we do those things, little things like that. But sometimes we have to reallocate funds. So that's why we're looking at our programs. We're looking at class size. We're looking at, do we have teachers that may retire? Do we have classified staff? And then when those folks retire, are they still, is that position still the best use for Marlington? Do we need a different position? No position at all? Those are really the two biggest ways would be, you know, passing a levy or reallocating funds. And we're going to have to probably do both of those things.
Dr. Mike or Patty, could you speak to the Nexus funds? I mean, we're currently receiving 38% of what we thought we were going to get, and we structured our lease purchase around that 38% so that we could negotiate the payments on that. Can you speak to the other 62%?
Okay.
Let me start, and then I'll let.
Okay, go ahead.
Or were you gonna?
You can go first.
Let me just kick that off. So the other, I'm glad you brought that up, Mrs. Gabrick. The other 60-some% are still an unknown, and unfortunately, I just was reading just this week. You know, the next Nexus court date was May. The courts have pushed that to November. And we were being told, don't expect any decisions for at least 2 years, at the very least 2 years. So I don't think we're going to have much movement or any movement on those Nexus funds for a while. We're not going to have a court decision for a year at least. I mean, if they start in November, you know, we're looking at almost a year, depending on how fast the decision comes down. And then Patty, did you want to speak to the rest of that? Did I leave anything out?
I can add to that. As you know, we structured that around a $700 and some thousand payment a year. As we talked to legal counsel as well as our consultant at ODE, you know, both of them are kind of in agreement or kind of spoke to, you know, this short-term solution of just getting through the next 2 years to see where the the Nexus funds go, and what decision is made in court, as well as, you know, we're just, our revenue as well as our expenditures are just fluctuating so much in response to what's happening in the economy and in the environment. And you know, we're getting some one-time allocations versus we're getting some funds restored versus, you know, in the future, it's just a lot of uncertainty for this next short period of time.
Is it safe to say that with the federal funds that we're getting, we're going to be in a good place this year at least, better than prior years?
I hate to speak before I get the guidance, but we're looking at we're looking at going back and like I said, these funds are intended to offset that loss of revenue. And we've had loss of revenue in several places. For example, we just talked about the state funding, as well as other places that's just due to the pandemic. So we can look at that, and we intend on going back and restoring some of that. However, you gotta, one thing to keep in mind, this is not general fund, this is federal funds. So when you're looking at the 5-year forecast, it's going to, you know, it's not going to go into the general fund. For example, we do the health and wellness, so we pick up some of our staffing through those funds. Hopefully, I look forward to hopefully doing the same thing, just temporarily for that loss of revenue, maybe at the state level. Again, we have to wait for guidance. So we're looking at what kind of money do we have in hand, and how can we use that best until we can get all of this worked out of where the state's going, where our taxes are going. So we have a short-term solution versus one that's long-term that will sustain us over many, many years. Our biggest maybe focus right now is those two or 3 years until all of this kind of settles down, and we can see that that fluctuation stop in our funding and if that makes sense, and our expenditures.
Absolutely.
And just to add to that, and you know, I always said if we would just pay the payment on our lease for the next 2 or 3 years, that's going to be the increased revenue that we might need to get us through until we see where all of this goes. It's just so many uncertainties right now.
So I know you haven't like put an amount of anything on a levy. So back to the Nexus, we have 62% of our Nexus money is suspended until the court rules on that. So how would you even know what to ask for? Because there's probably a decent possibility that we're going to get money from Nexus that's owed back taxes that they owe us. So at what point do you say we wait on the court decision versus going after new money and having the community pay up front? And then what happens if you get this large settlement from Nexus? I mean, how does all that factor in?
Do you want to take this, or do you want me to?
Well, I could start and then you add on, Patty. We're not going to be able to wait for the Nexus decision. That's my opinion. We're going to have to be more proactive than that. But you know, because it's so uncertain, we don't know what will happen with those funds or how much we'll get. And remember, we have a number of things with our high school, middle school that may still be done facilities wise in the future. There may be some other things, structural things we need to do. So I don't think a levy is going to wait for the Nexus decision. That's just my opinion. Patty, I don't know what you.
Well, and as we mentioned before, the Nexus money's limited, so even if we took that, it would just be a stopgap, just a short period that it could extend that out further. And like you said, I think you hit the nail right on the head, Dr. Mike. We do have other improvements that need made, and it would be reasonable to put that towards that, such as the roof in the high school and other things as well.
Thank you. And then just another question on grants. Are we able to apply for as many grants as possible? I have read where a neighboring school had applied for a safety grant through the Ohio Attorney General and things like that. Do we have enough staff to be applying for all these available grants?
We did apply for that, and you'll see that coming up.
Okay.
Yes, we did apply for that.
Okay.
We try to apply everything we can, especially if it's practical. Sometimes they'll tell us, look, folks, this is a grant for inner city. This is a grant for the Big 8. And we listen to that, and because these grants are complicated. But then sometimes there are grants that, for us as well. So we try to do as much as we can with those.
Dr. Mike, I'd like to say thank you to getting our kindergarten announcement out very early this year. That's good, and the more students we can attract to Marlington, I think that's great. And I appreciate seeing that in the newspaper in very early point in time.
You're welcome. I'll tell you, two of the most exciting things for me are, number one, graduating our kids, seeing them walk across the stage, but then welcoming new kindergarten students. So I'm so excited. We've got a roundup plan too that we've done in the past. So yeah, we're excited about that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, opening up that registration period this early. I mean, there's a lot of other competition in the private sector that they have their cutoffs well before we have our kindergarten roundup. And a lot of parents were forced to make a decision without a chance to get the information they needed to make an informed decision. And that helps tremendously.
Are there any other questions on financial? Dr. Mike, Patty, anything more?
Not unless you guys have, the board has any specific questions. I think we need to schedule some financial committee meetings
Okay.
in the next week or so. But other than that, unless you have specific questions for me.
I'm sure we'll think of more.
Great.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. Do we have any new business to discuss this evening? Executive session. Is there a motion to enter into executive session in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 121.22 to discuss the appointment, employment, dismissal, and compensation of a public employee, and to discuss matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or regulations or state statutes?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved 5-0.
If everyone would please disconnect from Google Meet and join the Zoom link that was sent.
Here we go.
Okay, thank you. We were declared out of executive session at 8:57. And under the personnel section of the agenda, superintendent contract, is there a motion to approve the following administrative contract? Dr. Michael Schreffler, superintendent, contract period 8/3/2021 to 7/31/2024.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Is
Second.
there any discussion? Patty, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved, 5-0.
Dr. Mike, do you want to take over the rest of the personnel, please?
Yes, first let me say thank you. It will be my pleasure to serve the community and the people of the Marlington district for the next 3 years and maybe more, who knows. Okay, next item on the agenda, we have an administrative resignation. I would just like to say thanks to Carol for her many years of devoted service to Marlington. We wish you the best. Recommend the motion to accept the resignation of Carol Sutton, Assistant Superintendent and Curriculum Director, effective July 31st, 2021.
Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation for the resignation of Carol Sutton as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I'd just like to say, Carol, that I want to thank you for your good work, your fire, and the passion that you brought to Marlington. Your loyalty as a Duke was exemplary. It was almost as if you grew up here. So you will be missed. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
Mrs.
you,
Sutton,
Ms.
I'd like to thank you for your services.
Thank you.
Carolyn, your ability to bring the students back to the high school, I think, has been remarkable over the time. The CCP, from the students leaving and going off campus to being back on campus. So you should be complimented on that and remembered for that. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Patty, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved, 5-0.
And then under classified, I'd like to ask you to extend Len Warliff's, I almost said graduation date, retirement date. Len and the district agreed we need to keep him on just a little bit longer to help us with some things. It really makes no difference to the district. It's the same retirement for him. It doesn't cost us anything really. So I'd like to recommend that we change his retirement date from March 19th, 2021 to May 7th, 2021.
Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation to amend the retirement date for Len Ortliff as presented?
So moved.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved, 5-0.
And then the last item, we have a resignation of Custodian Taylor Morgan, effective February 5th, 2021.
Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation for the resignation of Taylor Morgan as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Approved 5-0.
Dr. Mike, would you like to go over the announcements?
Yes, so we have some announcements for you. Remember, we were scheduled to not have school on February 12th. And then that Monday, the 15th, is President's Day. And then February 16th will be a calamity day. That's the day our staff gets the first COVID vaccine. And all of the parents received a letter today about that. It's also on our website. And we'll have 2 call outs reminding parents. In addition to that, March 9th and 10th will also be calamity days. The 9th is the second shot. And most of the people are having some illness the day after the second shot. So we're going to err on the safe side and have a calamity day that day. And this is in line with what most other districts are doing. And then February 18th, parent-teacher conferences.
Thank you. Our next regular meeting is February 18th at 7 o'clock. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes?
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved 5-0.
Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Thanks, everybody.